Hey, thanks for joining us online. Here at Flatirons, we seek to bring the awesome life of Christ to a lost and broken world. If you want to connect with us on social media, the links are below. Now let's jump into our series, Can People Really Change?
Yeah, good morning, Flatirons. How are you? Yeah, so all four of our campuses are joining together. If you're new to Flatirons, when I say campuses, several years ago, we made a decision that the way our goal is not to make Flatirons famous. We don't really care about that. We want Jesus to be famous and as many people as possible to have access to this truth that God doesn't hate them. No matter what they've heard in their past, no matter what you've done in your past, God doesn't hate you. And so in order to get that, He actually loves you. And in order to get that message out, we made an intentional decision a couple of years ago to begin planting campuses all up and down the Front Range. And right now there's four campuses. I want to introduce you to Stephen Krieger. Stephen has been around Flatirons for a long time. He's a CSU grad, whatever. And it's mixed, it's mixed reactions. But anyway, so he was involved in our young adult and college ministry as a college student. And then after he got out of school, he joined our kids ministry staff and was here on staff for a couple of years. And then he and his wife, Hillary, just really began to pray and search what God wanted for their life. He joined one of our mission partners, Global Scope, and he and his wife have spent the last 2 years over in England taking the awesome life of Christ to some people there that really want to hear about Jesus. As we thought about starting our fifth campus, we looked around and said, what kind of a leader, what kind of a man do we really trust to do that? And I'm really pleased to announce that on January the 28th, Stephen Krieger will be the pastor of our Longmont campus. So give it up for Stephen. Which is so good. All right, so we have a lot of people, just thousands of people that come from north of here. And so if there was a campus maybe closer to where you live, you could get more involved in that, and you could actually begin to kind of partner with a community up there and make a difference in that part of the state, of the city. So here's the thing is that 3 weeks from today, on October 29th, Stephen, and I'm going to be there too, but Stephen's going to host a party up in Longmont for all the people up there that are interested in finding out more about that campus, getting involved in that, different opportunities and things like that. Stephen will be up there. If you want to come to that cookout, we'll launch on January 28th. We've rented the convention center up there for a year, so we're committed. All right, and so if you're interested in getting involved in that, Stephen and some of his staff here at Lafayette, they'll be out there in the information center, right in front of the fireplace. And then at the other three campuses, if you go to the information center and find out more about that, they'll have all that information. So will you just give it up for Stephen one more time? All right? Yeah. So as we plant campuses, one of the things that we realize is we have to reorganize all of our staff, even here at Lafayette. And so from this point on, when we talk about campuses, those of us who attend the Lafayette campus, there used to just be one campus. We didn't call it a campus, we just called it Flatirons, all right? But as we've launched more and more campuses, we have to reorganize some things. Zach, a couple years ago, we asked Zach to help us plan a campus down in Denver. We started the Paramount Theater, and then after a while, we moved. We found a church that had been closed down for a long time, sitting empty. We bought that church, we renovated it, and then last Christmas, we opened that. And Zach was the campus pastor down there, opened with 2 services. 2 weeks from now, they're going to start a Sunday night service because they can't fit everybody into the 2 Sunday morning services, and that's happened under Zach's leadership, which is just awesome. So as we're looking at Lafayette, what needs to change here at Lafayette, I looked around again at our current staff, and what leader would I trust to come in here and do for Lafayette what he's done in other campuses? And so from this point on, I've asked Zach to leave the Denver campus. Stefan's going to take over for him down there. It's already happened. But Zach is now going to be the Lafayette campus pastor. So he's going to partner up with me, but he'll be out there in the lobby. He'll be running the staff here at the Lafayette campus, overseeing the ministries there. If I'm not out there in the lobby, you probably need to talk to him anyway because he has more information. So from this point on, Zach Weingartner is your Lafayette campus pastor. So you just give it up for Zach, all right? Thanks, man. Good. Hey, before we're going to start a new series here in a minute, but let me just say this. It's been quite a week here in our country, right? And so Friday morning, I was at the gym, and a police officer came up to me, which normally freaks me out, but it was cool this time. He goes, "Hey, Jim, are we going to do anything at church this weekend for the Las Vegas situation?" I went, "Yeah, we're gonna pray for those victims, and we're gonna do that in just a second." But as I was thinking about it, after he walked away from me, I thought to myself, you know what? For the last year or two, all I hear on the news is everybody's critical of the police, everybody's critical of the fire department. All that changes when the bullets start flying, right? when your house is on fire, all that goes away. And so here's what I want to do before we pray for the families and the victims of Las Vegas. We have a lot of first responders on all 4 of our campuses that call Flatirons their home, all right? If you're comfortable doing this, and you know what your life looks like, all right? But if you're a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic or any type of first responder, would you please stand up right now so that Flatirons can honor you? Because we honor you. Will you just give it up for these men and women right now? Yeah, thanks so much. Hey, let's all, again, all of our campuses, let's just stand up and let's just pray together real quick, and then we'll move on with our service. All right, so just pray with me. So Lord, I want to pray first of all for the families and the victims of evil this past Sunday out in Vegas. I just know there are people right now who are getting out of bed or trying to get out of bed today, thinking their life is over because someone they love, a mom or dad, a husband or wife, a brother or sister, they're gone and they didn't see it coming. But look, Jesus, you said in this world, evil things are going to happen, tribulation is going to happen, bad things are going to happen. But to not give up, because if we hold on to you, you overcome everything. And so that's what I'm going to ask, God. Will you do what only you can do in the lives of these families who have lost so much? Will you put your arms around them and somehow use this to bring them closer to you? There are no human words. There's no song. There's no person that can just make this better. That's above our pay grade. I'm going to ask you to do what only you can do, to bring healing to hearts, comfort to hearts, bring communities back together, bring families back together for all those that were wounded, both physically and also just emotionally. They're just scarred forever. I pray that, again, that you do what only you can do, and that is bring peace into a very, very evil situation. And you can do that. Only you can do that. And so we just ask you to bring love and peace and healing into those lives that have been affected by such a horrible thing. God, I pray for police officers and firefighters and paramedics. God, these are the people that you put in place so that when the bullets fly and the fire is burning hot, they run towards the chaos so that we can run away and we can be protected. God, I just pray for their safety. I pray for their families who sacrifice and risk so much because every day they know that their husband or their wife, their son or their daughter, they're going to face a shooting or they're going to face a fire. But they say that's the calling on their life, and they trust you. So God, I pray for their safety and their protection of both them and their families and those that they care about so much. God, I always want to be that church that is supporting and loving the things that you love. And so God, you love these men and women, so please take good care of them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Will you just give it up for them one more time and then go have a seat? Yeah, go ahead and have a seat. I know I'm going to get some emails like, I can't believe you did that, and that's mixing water. Listen, we're always going to be the politically incorrect church. You know that, right? We're always going to keep on praying for the things that we want to pray about. So if you don't like that, then there's a lot of other churches that are very politically correct. We're just not it, all right? So anyway, hey, so we're going to start a series today, and I'm going to tell you, I've been looking for this series, forward to this series like all summer long. It's going to pick up right where we left off in the last series. And if you weren't here the last month, let me just kind of bring up to speed what we've been talking about. It kind of goes like this, is that all of us at some point in our life, we bought a sales pitch. Somebody kind of sold us some goods or whatever that is, and now we believe it, that's who we are. And that's what we're worth. And that's one metaphor we've been looking at. The other one is our life is kind of like a blank page, right? And over the course of our life, different people and different events, both good and bad, right on that page. And here's the result of that, is that we get out of bed every day and then we kind of consult that sales pitch or look at that page and we do the math in our head, and this is where a lot of us land. That's who I am. That's what I'm worth. That's the point of my life, whatever that is. And then it keeps on going down to this, and this is my life. Good or bad, this is the life that I'm stuck with. And that sounds kind of negative, but I intentionally use the word stuck because a lot of us, when we look at our life, we go, yeah, that's just it. That's just the way it's going to be. Meaning this, we look at our life and go, it's not perfect. It's not, it's not the life that I thought I was going to have when I was in high school or college or whatever that. This isn't how I thought my life or my marriage or my health or whatever is going to turn out. But it's what I got. And you know what? It's better than it used to be. So it's not perfect, and I don't really like it, but at least it's not what it used to be. And I'm kind of stuck with that. And that's how some of us look at our life. Or how about this? A lot of us look at our life and go, I've never even really thought about it. It's just my life. I've been doing my life this way for so long. As a matter of fact, I'm doing my life like my dad did his life. He did his life like his dad did, right? So this is just my life. I've been doing it so long I didn't even thought about changing my life. And I don't even think it's possible to change my life. This is my life. And here's what when we do that, when we look at our life and go, that's just it, a lot of us unintentionally over our life, we've kind of put up a white flag and we've kind of surrendered to this idea that it's always going to be this way. Nothing's going to change. I've been talking to some people over the last several months, and as I was getting ready for this talk for this weekend, some different conversations came back to mind. I was talking to a friend of mine. His name's Greg. He does ministry, and I noticed one day that he was really just really sad and depressed. And I went, hey buddy, what's wrong? What's going on? And he said, honest Jim, I feel like a bird in a cage. You know, over for the last 15 years or so, I've tried to do new things. I've tried to be creative. I've tried to, kind of push the limits. I've kind of really tried to do new things and more helpful things. And every time I try to do something good, every time I try to do something new, I feel like a bird in a cage that flies against the bars. It hits hard, and then I fall back down on the bottom of the cage, and I try to pick myself up, and then I kind of gather myself, and then I do it again, and then I hit the bars, and I'm just tired of it. It hurts. I'm exhausted. So here's what I've kind of decided. I feel like I'm a bird in a cage, and I'm just going to sit on my perch and do what I'm told, do what I need to do to get by, because it just hurts to try to do anything different. This is my life. He actually said this. This is my life, and I don't think it's ever going to change, so I kind of give up. I'm just going to sit here on my perch. And I get it, right? I knew what was going on in his life, some of the parts and different things, and I look at him and go, that makes sense. I just don't want that life. And I know he doesn't either. Again, over the last couple of years, I've had some serious conversations with some men who've done serious jail time, all right? And I'm not talking about, they did 10 days for, this or 30 days. I'm talking about like decades. They've spent decades of their life in prison. And I've watched enough TV. I know how prison works, all right? So I go to them, and I don't ever want to know. But I've sat down with them, one guy in particular, and I said, how do you do it? How do you do this, like for years on end? How do you like keep from going crazy? How do you keep from losing your mind, spending 23 hours a day in a 6 by 12 foot box? How do you just not lose it? And he said, this is the only way I make it. I made a decision a long time ago that the only way I'm going to survive this is I try not to think about anything outside of my box. It's too painful. I try not to think about the sky that I'll never see again. I used to see it. I'm not ever going to see it again, all right? I try not to think about the mountains that I used to hike in. I don't want to think about that because I'm never going to hike in them again. I try not to think about this. I'm not very good at it. I try not to think about my wife and my children that I'll never be able to be with, I'll never be able to hold again, because every time they come into my mind, it's just too painful. So I have trained myself to accept my new reality. So Jim, the vision I have for my life is a 6 by 12 foot box. This is all it is. This is all it's ever going to be. It's impossible for anything to change. This is my life. Nothing's going to change. And again, I get it. But that brings me to this series, that we're looking at. Is it possible? Can people really change? What do you think? Do you think people can really actually change? And usually when we say you mean change, by change you mean like act different? Right? Can people act different? Can they treat people different? Can they do things differently? But again, most of us would agree, and maybe even if you don't know that Jesus taught this, although he taught this a lot, most of us would agree that all that we do, the words that come out of our mouth, the things we do with our body, the way we point our money, all that kind of stuff, all of our behaviors really are just like an overflow of what's going on in here, right? Jesus said, out of the overflow of what's stored up in your heart, good or bad, your mouth speaks. So why did you say that? Because that's what's inside me. Why did you do that? Because that's what's inside me. So when we ask, can people change, we're really not talking about, can people act differently? Can people do things differently? The question that we got to look at is this: can people really change who they are? Is that possible? Can people really change who they are? And then out of that internal change, begin to see external actions and behaviors start to change. So is it possible for something to change inside of a person so much so that causes change on the outside, as opposed to just faking it on the outside and hoping it works? You go, can people change? If you go, yeah, I do. I believe people can change. The question is, great, how? And I'll be honest with you, here's my big question. Then why don't I see anybody changing? Because again, I'll be honest, I don't know very many people who have made big changes in their life that lasted. And I'll put myself on that list, all right? We can all do a little change for an hour or two or a week or two or something like that. But I honestly, I don't know looking over my own life, I don't know of anything or anybody in my life who had something like drastically change, and not for a minute or two, but it went on year after year after year after year. It got better and better and better. Their whole life changed on and on and on, and it stuck and it got better. I don't see that very often. So yeah, people can change. I just don't see it very often. But if your answer is, can people change, and the answer is no, then how come? Why not? And so I'm sitting in my office this week, because this is what you pay me to do, all right? So I'm thinking about, if the answer is no, I don't think people can change, what would be the reason that we would point to and go, no, people can't change? And there's probably a lot of reasons, but the ones I came up with simply go like this. The reason people don't change is because there's things going on in their life that are out of their control. And if those things that could, out there that are out of their control, if those things could change, then maybe I can change. But I don't think that it's going to happen, therefore I'm never going to change. Because I'm locked in. I'm locked down. If that would change, then my life could change. But that's never going to happen, so no, I'm never going to change, all right? Or here's the other one, is like why people don't change. It would be like this. I guess theoretically it's possible for people to change, but I don't think people change because either they don't even think about changing. This is my life, and I'm not going to change. This is who I am. If you don't like it, get over it, right? Or how about, this is my big one. I talked about this last week. The reason I don't think people change is because they don't want to. Bottom line, they just don't want to. Or how about this? Even if they say they want to, yeah, I'd like to change, and I'd like to be that kind of man, or I'd like to be that kind of person, what would it take? And then when they find out what it takes to actually do that and become that kind of person, have that kind of marriage, whatever that is, they look at me going, I don't want it that bad. I don't want it bad enough to do what it takes to actually get that. All right, so is change possible? I don't know. Yes and no, I guess. Let's go back to those first two examples of that guy that's locked in jail and that bird let's go with the bird, all right? A bird that's locked in a cage, all right? Is it possible, all right? Is it possible for them to be free? Can that prisoner actually be free? Well, let's go back to kind of all the reasons why or why not, all right? If that man is ever going to be free, or that bird's ever going to fly free, whatever that is, something's got to change inside of them that they go, I have a vision for what my life could be if I wasn't locked down all the time. If I wasn't stuck in this cage or in this circumstance of my life. I mean, if that little bird could look out the window and somehow go, what would my life look like if I could fly through trees and fly to the mountains? What would that man's life look like if he didn't like put up a white flag and surrender, but actually in his mind goes, I have this vision for my life, and if I ever get free, this is the kind of husband I would be. This is the kind of father I would be. These are the things I would do. This is the stuff I would change. If I could be free, this could be my life. Because again, most of the men that I have visited in jail or prison, I'll be honest with you, they're not there for the first time. Most of the people that I've talked to that are locked in a literal prison are repeat offenders. And here's what happened, all right, is that they spent a lot of time in jail, and then they got paroled, or they did their sentence or whatever that is, and they let them go free, and they went out there, and they didn't know how to live out here because they've been in there so long, and so they actually sabotage their own life because they go back to what they know, and they end up in jail. But if we're going to be free, something's got to change. I go, I got a vision for my life, and it doesn't look like this. I want something else. The other thing, all right, for that, even though you have a vision for your life, all right, you're still in prison. So what's another step for this person to ever be free? Here it is. Something beyond their control has to happen, or they'll never be free. All right, this is a metaphor I'm going someplace with this, but listen, that man that's locked in jail, he can't just, I changed my mind, let me go. That's just not how it works, okay? Something beyond his control. A judge, a jury, a parole officer has got to make a decision, and depending upon that decision, they'll be free or they'll stay in jail. What do you mean? So your sentence has been served, you've been pardoned, time served, all that, it's done. I have keys that you don't have to a door that you can't unlock, and I can do that for you, because you cannot do it for yourself. Birds cannot break out of cages. They can't just reach through there and fly away. They just can't do it. Somebody has to do that for them. So let's just say both those things happen. That prisoner goes, you know what? I have a vision for my life. That bird says, I want to fly free. And then something happens. The owner opens the cage, or the judge says, I'm going to open the door. You can go free, right? That person, that bird, they're still not free. Now they're sitting in their cage. He's sitting on that perch. He's sitting on his bunk in the jail cell. He can look out the door. He can look down the hallway. He can see sky. He can see mountains, all that kind of stuff. But he's still in jail because he has to make a decision. What am I going to do? Freedom is available to me, Do I want to stay here because this is all I know? Or do I want to be free? And if I were to walk out of this jail or fly out that window or whatever that is, what do I need to do to move from prisoner to freedom? And then on the other side of that, what do I need to do different so from now on, I don't end up back here again like I did last time? Maybe even worse. So if I actually walk out that door and claim freedom, I have to do some things different in my life from now on. If not, I end up back here again. And that's where we're going to go for this next series, all right? This is just introduction today. There's really not that much application until the end. We're going to do some baptisms and some different things, but I really want you to just consider about coming back for the next few weeks, because no matter what we're going to talk about between now and Thanksgiving, the path, look at this, the path from prison, and what do you mean prison? I'm stuck. All of my life, or a part of my life, a relationship in my life, a big chunk of my life, it's not what I hoped it would be. It's just all it is, and I don't see it changing, all right? Let's just call that prison. The path from prison to freedom, for that part of your life to change, it's always the same. It's always the same. I don't care if you're talking about I'm literally a convict in jail, or I'm a bird in a cage. I don't care what part of your life you're talking about. It's always the same, meaning this is the path. You have to have a vision about what your life could look like outside of that cage. If my life wasn't stuck in this situation, if my relationship wasn't stuck, what could it look like? What are the possibilities? Right? So I have to have a vision followed by this. Somebody else has to do for you what you cannot do for yourself. All right? You say, well, I can fix my life. Then why haven't you? If you could do this on your own without any outside help, you would have already fixed it. You'd already be sober. You wouldn't have, a string of, DUIs. You wouldn't have a string of marriages, right? Because there's a time we go, I can fix this by myself, and we can't. Somebody's going to have to do something for us that we cannot do for ourselves. Followed by this, you have to make a decision that you intend to do something. All right? You can pray about it all you want. You can sing songs about it all you want. A day comes where you go, you know what? From now on, I'm going to do something different. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of parts of our life when we go, hey, do you want a life like that? And we go, yeah, I would. You think you're going to do it? Nah. Hey, so you said you wanted to lose 50 pounds. Yeah, I do. I really do. I want to lose 50 pounds. So are you going to do it? No, I'm going to McDonald's. That's our life. Yeah, I want this idea. I think it's a good idea. I want that kind of marriage. You going to go after it? No. There has to be a decision that I'm going to intend to do something different. And again, nothing changes. That bird is still in the cage. I don't care if they change their mind. I don't care if the door is open and they made up their mind that from now on. The fourth thing is this. I have to start doing it. I have to go do something different in my life. See, that's just reality. In all the parts of your life, all the important parts of your life, nothing changes unless, first of all, you have a vision for that part of your life, and then somebody kind of does something for you that you cannot do for yourself, and then you say, from now on, everything's going to change. The past is the past, but from now on, I'm going to do things different. And then you get up out of this room in a few minutes, and you go do things differently. Marriage, money, health, career, family, sexuality, all that, all right? But it's also true when it comes probably more than anything else. And probably first on the list, this has to happen in our spiritual lives. Because on the inside, everything drives everything on the outside, right? So we're going to look at one Bible verse today, all right? So we're going to get out of here maybe early. We're not. You guys don't even believe me anymore, do you? All right, so this guy named Paul, he writes a big chunk of the Bible, and we talk about him a lot. Paul writes a letter to these people. They live in a part of the Middle East, and that part's called Galatia. And if you live in Galatia, you're a Galatian. And so this book of the Bible is called the letter to the Galatians. There you go. See, you learned something. All right, so Paul writes a letter to some people who live in Galatia. And most of the people that he writes this letter to, they're already Christians, meaning they heard about Jesus, they put their faith in Jesus, they put their trust in Jesus, they got baptized into Jesus, they have Jesus living inside of them, all right? They're absolutely confident that after they die, they're not going to hell because they're forgiven, and they're going to heaven. But other than that, this is what the whole letter's about. Nothing else changed. Nothing else changed. They became Christians, but nothing really changed in their everyday life. I became a Christian. My marriage is exactly the same as it was before, 10 years after I became a Christian as it was 10 years before I was a Christian. I'm still addicted to the same things. I still screw up the same parts of my life day after day after day. I'm not going to hell after I die, but right now, it's just the same old, same old. And so Paul writes this letter to them, and the last chapter of this, when they wrote the Bible, they broke it into chapters. The last section of this, Paul takes off the gloves and goes, I'm just going to be blunt. I'm just going to be blunt about what I see going on. And this is what he writes. And he could write the same letter to us. He really could. He says this, for freedom, Christ has set us free. So why did Jesus do all this stuff on the cross, die, be buried and resurrect? Why did he do all that? It's for freedom. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Now, if that's true, stand firm, therefore. What do you mean? If Christ set you free, then take your stand. And do not submit again. You used to submit, but don't do that anymore. Don't submit again to a yoke of slavery. And so the whole gist of this last part of the letter is this. Hey people, Christians, listen, what's the vision for your life? Right, your life with Christ. I mean, because it looks like, all right, I'm not passing judgment on you, but just following you around all day, it looks like your whole Christian life is about this. I'm not going to hell after I die, but other than that, it's just more of the same. And I think this explains why so many of us as Christians who look at our Christian life and our walk with God as just boring and stale, and I don't get anything out of it anymore, and it doesn't really help. It's just, my whole Christian life is about after I die. I don't go to someplace bad. I go to someplace good. But right now in this marriage, listen, I'm still a slave. You claim you're free. You keep acting like a slave. What happened? What happened? What's your vision for your life? Because this is what it looks like. Your vision for your life is, you know what? Grace gives me permission to keep on sinning because I'm forgiven anyway. So why change? I'm going to heaven. Or how about this? This is where I think a lot of us are, all right? Even with Jesus in my life, I still can't stop doing those things. Even with Jesus in my life, I don't think I'll ever change. And Paul's saying this, listen, but think about it. Have a vision for your life. What would your life look like if your life was free of all the things that keep screwing up your life? What if you were actually free from the addiction that ruined the last marriage and is ruining this one? What if you were free from that? What if you were free from whatever it is going on inside of you that keeps destroying the things between you and your kids or you and your parents? Listen, what if you could be free of that? Because it was for freedom that Christ did everything he did, not for more slavery. Jesus did not die on a cross so we could live in a cage. But hold on, after you're dead, you go to a better place. It's for freedom. Christ has set us free. And Christ has done everything necessary on his part to make freedom possible in this life, not just after you die. This life, he's done everything that we could not do for ourselves. We sing songs about this every week in here. I teach about this we're going to sing songs in just a few minutes that say stuff like this. The Bible says that there was a time in my life when sin owned me. And you know what I'm talking about. You've tried to not do that anymore. You've tried to be a better person, whatever. And then in the back of your mind, it's like it owns me. I've tried to change. I've tried to be good. I've tried to be faithful. But then that thing wraps itself around me, and it's like chains around me, and it owns me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. What Jesus says is that my blood has the power to break those chains, to open that captive door. My blood can pay the penalty. You were condemned to prison? Great. I'll pay your sentence for you. I'll open a door. I will set you free. I'll declare you innocent. I'll do that for you. Jesus was asked this, why are you even here? And he said, I came to set the captive free. And he wasn't just talking about people literally in jail, although they can be free in their hearts, even if their bodies are locked in a jail. He's talking about all the parts of your life that you're thinking about right now going, I am stuck. My marriage is a prison. My family is a prison. My addictions are a prison. My finances are an absolute prison cell. I came to set the prisoner free. And not only am I going to get you out of prison, I'll go with you along the way. I'll keep my promise, and I will live inside of you, and I will start changing things in you so that you can not just do different things, but you'll be a different person. And because you're a different person, out of that internal change, you'll do different things. See, nothing's going to change in our life. Nothing really changes, okay? I don't care if you're saved. Listen, and you put your faith in Jesus and you pray a lot and go to church a lot, all right? I don't care if Jesus lives inside of you. Listen, nothing is going to change in your life. That has to be in place, but nothing's going to change until you say, okay, from now on. There comes a point in your life where you have to go, all right, from now on, I'm going to take a stand, all right? Take your stand, therefore, right? Plant your feet and declare, I'm going to do what needs to be done. I'm going to set my feet. I'm not going to hope. I am going to hope, but I'm not going to just hope. I'm not going to stop praying, but it's time to stop praying about if we're going to make changes in our life and start praying about how we're going to make changes in our life, right? So here's what I'm going to do. In just a minute, we're going to see several hundred men, maybe several thousand men do this, all right? I'm going to draw a line, a thin red line. I'm going to step across and go, my past is my past, but from now on, I'm going to live my life differently. I'm going to rethink everything, right? My intentions and changing my actions, I'm going to think different. In the past, I've thought like a prisoner. I've thought that this is all there is and this is all there will ever be. But if all that stuff is true, if Christ has set me free, that from now on, I'm going to start acting like a free person and not a slave. But again, nothing changes yet until you get up out of this room. And by out of this room, I'm saying it's 9:41 right now. We're going to get out of here in about 15, 25 minutes, all right? So you know what? Nothing changes. Again, I don't care if you believe it. I don't care if you have this time I'm really going to do it. Nothing changes until you get up out of your seat here in a minute, go get in your car or truck, and then start doing things different. You got to have a strategy. From now on, I'm going to do what God says to do. I'm going to obey. I'm going to trust and obey. And if not, it is a matter of time until you end up right back here in the same jail cell or even a worse one like you did before. And it's not because God threw you back in jail because you made a mistake. It's not how it works. Is that nothing changed on the inside. And you faked it for a while, and then you went back to old behaviors because nothing changed. You started acting like a slave, and you walked back into that prison, and you shut the door and went, this is my life. It's all it'll ever be. Now, listen, when we're talking about changes in our life, please hear this, all right? Jesus is not just about behavior modification. I really don't think Jesus is in heaven going, you need to stop that. Maybe he is, all right? I don't know. I mean, when people think about Jesus or church or something like that, this is what immediately comes to mind. So what's he want me to stop doing? He wants me to stop doing this. If I become a Christian, he wants me to stop doing this and stop doing this and stop doing this and start doing this better, I guess, I just don't think that that's what Jesus really thinks about a lot. But he knows that, listen, all that's symptomatic of something inside. That's all we care about. I don't care if she changes or not. She just needs to knock it off. I need him to stop doing that because every time he does that, it screws up my whole life, all right? And so this is what's going to happen even this weekend. Some people are going to go, okay, this time I'm really going to do it. And you're going to try to behave better. You're going to look your wife or your girlfriend or your husband, whatever that is, and I go, okay, promise, honey, listen, if you give me one more chance, I promise I will never do that again. How many times have we said that? Don't raise your hand or look at your spouse, like 11 this week for you, all right? So don't do that. We're going to do our best. And you know what? Some of you, because you're really strong people, you're going to pull it off. You're going to behave differently. Some of you for the whole week. And some of you, you're going to be able to, because you're really strong, a month. Some of you, because you really, 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 really have a lot at stake, you're going to reach deep down inside, and you're going to pull it off. You're going to change your outward behavior for a year or two. Let me tell you what's coming. You're about to get ambushed, and you don't see it coming. This is what we talked about in the last series. It's like there's this part of you that's hungry for something, and you say, I'm hungry for something good, and nobody's feeding that, and I'm about to let go of what I promised. I'm going to go feed it myself, and you know what I'm talking about. Or how about this? You're trying to do the right thing, and nobody's cooperating with you, including God, it feels like, and you are on your own, and you're about to let go of God and truth and all that other stuff, and just go do your own thing. And in that moment, you're going to get ambushed. Somebody's going to pull your trigger, and here's what's going to happen. All the stuff that you've tried to hide and repress and deny, it doesn't matter anymore, doesn't matter, because I'm a good person, I'm a good person. You know what? Nothing changed on the inside. Somebody's going to pull your trigger, and it's all going to come out because nothing changed on the inside. And here's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to look you in the eye, or you're going to look yourself in the mirror and go, you'll never change. Nothing ever changed. Jesus is not just about trying to get us to act different. Jesus is about spiritual change, spiritual formation. And if he can change who we are inside, that'll change our behavior. He's not worried about what we do. He's worried about, or he's concerned about who we are. He wants to change us on the inside. Look at this. Spiritual formation is a spirit-driven process, all right? Meaning we cannot do this on our own. The Spirit of God, Jesus promised that when you become a Christian, two things happen. Your condemnation is taken away, and then he moves inside of you and does stuff on the inside that you cannot do on your own. That's what we're talking about. Spiritual formation is a spirit-driven, Jesus-driven, God-driven process of forming our inner world. And you know what I'm talking about? I'm not getting spooky, mystical or something like that. Everybody knows that this is not all there is. There's this, that you are not your body. You're not your possessions. You're not your marriage. You're not. I'm talking about the real you inside of us. Spiritual formation is a Jesus-driven process of forming the real you, your spiritual side, in such a way that your spiritual, who you are, becomes like the inner being of Christ himself. I want to be like Christ. I want to be like Jesus. And I cannot do that on my own. So let me talk about grace, okay? So grace does for us what we cannot do on our own, all right? So grace, this is grace. The blood that Jesus shed on the cross pays for our sin, takes away all our condemnation, anything that separates us from God. When you put your faith in Jesus, all that sin and condemnation go away, and we are directly connected to God. That is grace. You cannot do that. You cannot save yourself. You cannot get rid of your sins. You cannot work it off, all right? So that's grace. He gives us forgiveness and reconnects us back to God. But it doesn't stop there. The other thing that grace does is the Spirit of Christ moves inside of us, and He begins to change things on the inside that we cannot change on our own. You cannot become a different man or woman on your own. You've tried. We need someone outside of ourselves to do something impossible. Reach inside and do it for us. That's a gift. That's grace. He forgives us, He reconnects us to God, He takes away our condemnation, He moves inside of us and begins changing us on the inside. He does that for us. We cannot do it. But please understand this, spiritual formation in Christ is not a passive process. And this is where it goes off the rails for a lot of us. This is going to explain why some of us go, I've been a Christian for 20 years, nothing changes. See, grace, we have a misunderstanding. Grace is God working in our lives so that impossible things can become possible. That things we cannot do on our own, He'll do in us, all right? Grace, Jesus, He'll move inside of us and He'll teach us things we don't know. When Jesus lives inside of you, you'll know things that you wouldn't know if Jesus wasn't inside of you. Is that a mystery? Absolutely. Christ in you is absolutely a mystery. How about this? He'll direct us. I don't know what to do in this situation. And then you'll know because Jesus is in you and He will speak and go, this is what you should do. This is wise, this is unwise. Do this, don't do this. And I'll give you the grace. I'll give you the strength to do what needs to be done. All right? That is grace. But please know this, all right? Grace is not opposed to hard work. We're not talking about being saved. He did all that for us, all right? Grace is not opposed to effort or actions in our life. It is opposed to trying to earn your way into heaven. You can't do that. But please know this, if you have Jesus, if you have grace on the inside, it will lead to hard work on the outside. There are no shortcuts to the promised land. There is no easy road to change. It does explain why a lot of our marriages don't change, though. We sit on the couch and we pray, hey, Jesus, if you want to change this marriage, do it. I'm going to watch TV till you do. Oh, nothing changed. Hey, I want to reconcile with my daughter. Jesus, if you want anything to change between me and my daughter, do something in her so she calls me and apologizes, and nothing changes. One of my favorite chapters in the Bible is John chapter 15. Jesus is talking to His followers, and He's comparing, He says, I'm a vine, and then you're a branch off of me, and as long as you stay connected to me, you're going to be great. And then He says this is so good. He says, now, please know this, on your own or without me in your life, you can do nothing. On your own, you can't fix your marriage. On your own, you're not going to get sober, which is why you haven't, because you've been trying to do it on your own. On your own or without Jesus, you can do nothing. But please know this, if you do nothing, it'll be without Jesus. Right? You follow me there? They're not contradictory. You can't sit on your couch and do nothing and then claim the reason nothing changes is Jesus' fault. No, it's not. But if you get off your couch and try to fix your life without Jesus, nothing's going to work either. It's both. Can people really change? Yes and no. Yes, people can change. But no, but you're not going to do it on your own. If you try to change your life or try to fix your life or any relationship on your own, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But it will include some things that only you alone can do. All right, now, application. From now all the way till Thanksgiving, I've been thinking about this. It's going to be a long series, all right? We are going to look at the most important areas of life. We're going to ask the question if they can change or not. Now, what do you mean most important? If you can do this right now if you don't believe me, because this is what I did. This is how I found out, right? If you Google this phrase, most important parts of life, it's pretty catchy, huh? All right? You'll get the same 6 to 10 words, meaning people all through history have looked at a person's life and says, everything that happens in a person's life can fall into one of these 6 to 10 categories. And when I'm sitting here, or stand up here today going, okay, what part of your life is stuck? Whatever you're thinking about probably sticks in one of these categories. All right, so can people really change? How about this? We're going to look at this one week. Can people really change? Can your family really change? And I don't know what family looks like for you. Maybe for you, family is I'm single, or I'm a college student, or I'm married, or I'm divorced, or I'm retired, or I'm young. I have kids. I don't know what family is for you. But you look at some part of your life and go, that's my family, and it's not what I wanted it to be or hoped it. Can it change? Is there any possibility that whatever you call family could change for the better? Or how about this one, all right? Can people really change in terms of their career? I'm not saying you got to change your job. If this is your job, can you change in that job? Can you be a different person, a better person in your job? Or do you need to go find another career? Because no, not doing that, I never can. It's a death sentence. It's a prison cell, and I'm not going to spend the next 30 years doing that. Can people change? How about this one? Can people change? This is a big one, right? Intellectually. I'm not saying can you get smarter. No. All right, but can you change your mind? And everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. Because what if I could think about different things? Because this is what happens to me. I'm fine. I'm doing fine, all right? I haven't thought about that, and it's none of your business, but just call it that. I haven't thought about that in a long time. And then something will happen. Just a little thing will happen, and I'll go, whoa, and that's all I can think about. And then my mind starts spinning, bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster. And then my body goes after that, and it follows where my mind wants to go. And I get in a car and I go someplace that's, again, none of your business, all right? I'm just telling you, but what if I could back all the way up and change my mind and actually take a thought captive? Is it possible that my mind spinning out of control doesn't keep on screwing up everything in my life? Sign me up for that class, all right? How about this? Can people really change physically? And again, I'm not saying that everybody needs to be able to run a marathon and bench press their car like me. I'm not saying that at all. I can't. I'm having surgery. I'm a mess. But listen, this is just true, all right? Everything important in your life involves you doing something. Putting your arms around somebody, going with somebody, encouraging somebody, being with somebody, whatever that is, okay? I'm not just talking about physical fitness. I'm not talking about that. But there's some things that are going on in your life physically that can change. And until they change, it's going to keep on interfering with you being the man or the dad or the mom or the friend or the Christian, whatever that is, because there's some things that, it's just too hard. I don't want to change them. I mean, if my body was different or something like that, maybe. But I'm not talking about if you're in a wheelchair, all of a sudden you're going to pray a prayer and your spine's going to come back together. I'm saying this, is that life, this may not change, but who are you in this life? But on the other hand, is there something in your life that could change if you wanted it to? And then maybe you'd be more available to the people in your life. Or how about this one, all right? Can people really change? We're just going to go really fast, okay? Because this is what everybody's been thinking about. Can I really change my financial life? Because here's where a lot of us are right now. We're sitting there going, nope, I'm in so deep, it's never going to change. It's just death, and then I'm debt-free, all right? That's what we're looking for, right? Because here's where a lot of us live our life. And I'm the president of this club. I've spent most of my life like this, going, I'm in this much debt, all right? I have this much money. I can't pay off this much debt, so why not go to this? I can't pay it off either, so just go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. That's my life. I'm 20,000, what's 25? I can't pay off 15, so we just spiral out. But that's a prison. Most of us would go, financial debt is a prison. It's weighing me down. It stresses out my family. It's why I yell at the people that I say that I love. It's why I feel like a failure all the time because I live in financial prison. Can that change? We'll look at it, okay? Or how about this? Can people change spiritually? All right, and we've already talked about being saved or not, but listen, I'm talking about now that you're saved, is it possible to actually be friends with Jesus as opposed to being afraid of him? Can you imagine having your spiritual life so much so that you could close your eyes and you can really imagine reaching out and touching him? He's right there. Can you imagine going through life that close to Jesus? Is it possible? Right? How about this one, all right? Can people really change socially? We spend our whole life with two groups of people, our family and our friends, okay? So why did God put me with this group of friends? Because I don't find any verses going, hey, when you become a Christian, bail on your friends. I don't find that. All right, now if you're at a stage of life where you're going, I got to get some stuff together, but then it's to re-engage with my friends. Why did God put you in that friendship circle? What's the influence he wants to have you? I'm not saying that you have to, go, every time you all go to dinner or go to a bar or something like that, going, I'd like to preach to you for a while. Please don't do that. But why are you with that? It's not to fix them. It's not to convince them. It's not to convert them. And it's not to save them. That's above your pay grade. Why do you have these friends? And what might God want you to do? And it all starts with the same thing. All right? It all starts in the same place. If anything is going to change in any important area of my life, all right, something that I can't do for myself must be done. Someone must make the impossible actually possible for me, or I'm never going to be free. And it's already been done. Look at this. It is for freedom that Christ set you free. Hey, you're free. Some of us are sitting there going, I can't help it. That's never going to change. That's not true. Or Jesus is a liar. He says, I have done everything. You feel like you're chained to your sin? No, you're really not. The door is open. You just have to decide if you want to do what it takes to go get that, because he has set you free. You're forgiven. You're going to heaven. I just need this part of my life to change. It's for freedom that Christ set you free, because you've been saved by grace through faith in Jesus. It's done. You've got to let yourself off the mat. Forgive yourself. He's forgiven you. And from now on, he says things can be different. It is for freedom is now available. The door to change has been unlocked and open, but nothing changes until you say, from now on, I'm going to walk through it. Well, I don't know if I can do that on my own. I know. Jesus must begin to change me on the inside. So wherever you're locked up right now, all right, claim your freedom and then say, Jesus, here we go, and then walk across your line from now on. There's 3 words we're going to come back to, again, all the way through Thanksgiving. So you're going to write these down, all right? So the first one is this. What's your vision for your life? What would your life look like if you looked at any part of your life and went, that's what Jesus had in mind for me? That's the man I want to be. And then how would all the people in your life be affected if you were that kind of woman, that kind of man, that kind of boyfriend, that kind of leader? What's the vision for your life if it lined up with what Jesus says he wants for you? And followed by this, intention. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it enough to say, all right, from now on? And from now on, I'm talking about 9:57. From now on, I'm going to step across the line. And from now on, I'm going to run after different things. I'm not going to think like a slave anymore. I claim that what my vision is for my life, I am actually going to go and get. But again, nothing changes until you have a strategy. All right, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do 10 minutes from now when you get up out of this room and go get in your car or your truck and you go home? What are you going to do different so you don't end up in the same place? Vision, intent, strategy. We're going to memorize these. 1, 2, 3. Vision. That's so weak, and I couldn't even hear the other campuses. I'm sure they were better than this room. All right, so anyway, so let's say it again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to do a test, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. See, there we go. All right, that's the key, all right? Even if Jesus saved you, nothing changes in your life until you lean into this. Look at this, V-I-S. You're going to think, oh, he's so smart. I know, what's this, all right? V-I-S is this. It's the Latin word for strength, direction, importance, power, and the way for something to happen. I need all those things. There's some parts of my life that are locked up, and I need a strategy. I need to actually say I'm going to do it, and I got to have a vision for my life. But before anything changes in my life, it starts right here, submitting yourself to Jesus. I agree with who Jesus says I am. Here's what we're going to do. God is a God of symbols. And they're not for his benefit. He knows our hearts. We don't have to prove anything. There's really, really important parts of our life that we need physical reminders of. Like this doesn't make me married. It just reminds me, every time I look at it, that 33 and a half years ago, I was in Indiana at this little church. And my dad did the ceremony. And I looked at Rob and I went, I'm not going anywhere. I promise. I promise, for better or worse, for sickness and in health, for richer or for, I had no idea what I was signing up for, but I'm not going anywhere. And God knows I need that. If I lose this ring, I'm still married, but it's important to me. Baptism is similar to that. On a day in history, Jesus said, just picture Jesus got baptized as his line in the sand and goes, from now on, my life is about one thing. I'm going to do everything in my power to take care of and love and do for the people that I love what they cannot do for myself, up to and including I will lay down my life on a cross if that's what it takes. And that is what it took. So when we're baptized right now, we're just saying, I agree with that. I put my faith and trust in what Jesus did for me. Jesus took away my sin. Water doesn't take away your sin. Let me just tell you where the water came from. Hose. Same water you took a shower in today. I think we heated it up. Not sure. Anyway, all right, but and after we're done, after the church is over today, we're going to put it down a drain. It's not holy water, right? It's symbolic of what Jesus has done for us. He's washed us clean because we could not wash ourselves. All right, we've been buried with him and then resurrected to a new life. The old person is gone. The past is the past. This symbolizes that. So if you want to be baptized today at any of our campuses, then come and be baptized. Now let me say this really, really quick, all right? This has to be your decision. Every time we do baptism weekend, here's what happens, all right? Some parents decides it's time for their kid to get baptized. All right? And listen, parents, we're not going to stop you, all right? But please know this. If you're bringing your kid up there and we go, hey, so do you want to be baptized? Do you know what this means? And they just go, nah. All right, listen, then don't steal this moment from them. Like it was stolen for a lot of us. We had Jesus crammed down our throat, whether we were ready for him or not. Listen, your kid loves Jesus. They are fine, okay? There needs to come a day in their life where they take ownership of their faith. So you were sprinkled as a baby. You were baptized as a baby. All right, great. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Grandma, for dragging me off to Mass and making me go to class. All right, thank you. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm saying that today is the day for you to take ownership of your faith. It's my faith. I believe. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, priest. Thank you, Grandma, for pointing me in the direction. But now it's my choice. I believe Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. He set me free. He lives inside of me. And from now on, right? From now on, it's a different life. Now, here's the other part, right? For the last month, we've been leaning into the hearts of men going, hey, man, it is time. And there are people in our life that are waiting for us to go first. We are the spiritual leaders of our home. We're either leading them towards Jesus or leading them over a cliff, but we are spiritually leading one way or the other. There comes a time where we say, I'm going to step across the line. And from now on, and that's what this is. There's a thin red line in the front of all of our auditoriums on a table, right? And when you step across this line, here's what you're saying. You're not saying you're going to be perfect. You're just saying, it's different from now on. I'm going to step across that line, and from now on, my eyes are fixed on Jesus. I've been running after everything else, but if I just fix my eyes on Jesus, everybody in my life gets a better me. I'm going to fix my eyes on Jesus, and I'm going to start loving my wife better than I have. And I'm not even married yet. I haven't even met her yet because I'm 14, but I'm going to get ready for her from this point on. And if I screwed up the last marriage, from this point on, I'm going to really, really lean into this one or the next one and this one. If God gives me children or he's already given me children from now on, I'm actually going to protect my daughter. I'm not going to put up a white flag and go, kids will be kids. I'm not going to abdicate the role in my son's life because he doesn't want me to lead his life. I'm going to step back into that. And here's the other thing. I'm going to let myself off the mat. I'm going to forgive myself for my past. Jesus forgave me. I have to forgive my past. It is too heavy for me to carry around. And from now on, I'm forgiven. I'm going to live my life like that. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, again, all 4 of our campuses. When I had this idea 5 years ago to do this thin red line, all right, it was just tables, and we did a special ceremony. So here's what I told them this year. I want you to cut the legs off the table and make them low, because here's the other thing, man. If anything's going to change in your life, let's go back to Philippians chapter 2. You have to, every knee will bow, and every tongue confess that Jesus is my Lord. Jesus is the authority in my life. Not society, not culture, not my parents. Jesus is the authority. So in order for you to come up here to this thin red line, you're going to have to get on a knee and bow before the Lord. Take a moment and go, Lord, you're the authority in my life. Then write your name saying, I'm going to fix my eyes on Jesus, love my wife, protect my kids, forgive myself. Then write your name down. Then you'll stand up. Some men are going to give you one of these bracelets, right? And they're going to shake your hand and welcome you to this is what it means to be a man. Right now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to break off to all the campuses, and then your campus pastor is going to tell you how it's going to work in your room. Let me tell you, does this make me a man? No. It just keeps me on track. You know, I've been to the gym almost every day this week, and you know what I love? I love looking across the gym at a guy. I don't even know his name, but he has one of these on. I just look over and go, that's all. You know what? I know I'm not alone. I'll be down in Denver, or I'll be at a ball game, or I'll be at a concert, something like that, and I'll look over, and I'll be at the airport, I'll be out of town, and I'll look over, and I'll see one of these on, and I'm like, I'm not alone. So we're going to pray, and then I'm going to give you instructions in this room. Your campus pastor is going to give each one of you instruction, and then we're going to have a party. So will you pray with me? So Lord, there's a lot of people that are waiting for us to get on our knee and submit ourselves to the authority of Jesus, because they've been waiting on us to change, and we can't change on our own. And so Jesus, there's a lot of us, both men and women, who are going to come, and we're going to ask you to come into our life and do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. And we're going to be baptized into Jesus. And then when we come up out of that water, which is a symbol, we know we're not alone. And then from now on, our life is going to be different. God, I pray for the men of this church right now, 13 to 150. I pray that they will say, okay, family, watch this, because I'm going to step into what God has entrusted to me. I'm going to go take a knee. I'm going to sign my name. And when I come back, this is what you get. A man who's following Jesus. I'm going to do my best to love you more, and I'm going to lead my family because I'm forgiven. And so that's what all of this is about today from now on. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So here at Lafayette, here's what we're going to do. Let's just all stand together right now. And if you have to leave, I know that I'm 5 minutes over, but listen, if you have to leave, fine. But if you can stick around, it'd be great. If you want to be baptized, you just go to the outside wall and form a line. There's people there that have T-shirts on. If you need a thicker T-shirt, you know who you are, whatever that is. Take your wallet out, take your phone out. We have a lot of phones going to heaven. They don't work anymore, but they're going to heaven. Here's what I would suggest. Men, all right? Men, 13 and older, right? If you want to do this, all right, you come to the middle of the auditorium. Bring your girlfriend with you. Bring your family with you so they can stand there with you as you sign your name. And then how about this? Then after that, go and baptize who needs to be baptized because you're the spiritual leader of your home. Or go get baptized and then come and sign your name. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. So I'm going to count to 3 and say go. And that's how we end services at Flatirons. Isn't that awesome? All right. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then we will actually come be baptized. Come and take a knee for Jesus, and then go and live a different life. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, thanks for joining us. If you want prayer, you can go to flatironschurch.com/pray, and we'll be praying for you throughout the week. If you want to be part of what God's doing here at Flatirons, you can go to flatironschurch.com/give online. And if you'd like to tell us what God's been doing in your life, email mystory@flatironschurch.com, and we'd love to hear your story.